Hell's Paradise Season 2 isn't bad, but it might have ruined the best thing about the series. And the weird part is, it didn't happen because of bad animation, bad fights, or even bad characters. It happened because the show started explaining too much. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the show, but there are a few things that Season 2 does that really hold it back. I think a good place to start is looking at what made Hell's Paradise so enjoyable in the first place. Season 1 sets up a simple premise. Criminals are sent to a mysterious island to retrieve the elixir of life in exchange for a pardon. I honestly like this introduction to the main plot. We have a pretty straightforward objective with clear-cut motivations, and of course we have enough hype and aura moments to feed a family of JJK fans. One thing I think Hell's Paradise does pretty decently well, even going into Season 2, is its character writing. Specifically how it handles contrast between its cast. You got characters like Gabimaru, who starts off emotionally numb and detached, paired with Sagiri, who's constantly struggling with her own sense of duty and self-doubt. Their dynamic actually feels meaningful, as we actively see their beliefs change each other over time. Even outside the main duo, the sidecast isn't just filler either. Characters like Gantetsai and even some of the other criminals all feel like they have their own motivations and personalities that make them stand out. The show does a good job of making you understand why these people fight, which makes the stakes feel a lot more personal when things inevitably go wrong. But where I think the majority of us actually became captivated by the show was when the main cast arrived on the island. And if I had to describe it in a few words, I'd say it was really fucking eerie. Shinsenkyo does an absolutely fantastic job at coming across as genuinely creepy and mysterious. The island is a textbook example of a wolf in sheep's clothing. At first glance, the island appears to be quite beautiful, with bright colors and flowers at every corner. But we soon discover that it's inhabited with various monsters that appear to incorporate references to Taoist mythology. These monsters take a variety of forms, all equally off-putting and bizarre. The more time you spend on the island, the more it becomes clear that everything is trying to kill you. And not always in obvious ways either. One of the moments that really sells this is when a seemingly harmless butterfly lands on Gantetsai's hand, and he immediately cuts it off before it can spread, as we watch it start turning into a plant.
人工物のように見えますが。何やってんだあんた。どうして。
見ろ、人の顔した蝶だ。こんなもんがこの世にいるか。
すごっ。
見とれてる場合じゃねえ。一体何なんだこの島。まさか本物の彼岸なのか。
This moment really illustrates how even the smallest slip-up can nearly cost someone their life in this place. The constant, unpredictable danger combined with the body horror of humans turning into these plant-like abominations makes the island feel genuinely hostile in a way that a lot of anime settings just don't. And on top of that, the show holds back just enough information about what Shinsenkyo actually is to keep the sense of mystery alive, which makes you want to keep watching just to understand it. Honestly, the level of danger and mystery this place holds remind me a lot of the Dark Continent from Hunter x Hunter. Yes, it was just that good. That is, until it gets spoon-fed to us in one giant exposition dump. At the end of Season 1, the build-up to the reveal of the mystery behind the island and the tension gets increasingly bigger. We're getting more and more tidbits of information like names, history, and even a few brief mentions of the show's main power system, Tao. I think gradually stumbling upon the various bizarre and unique aspects of the island all works as a pretty natural progression from us knowing virtually nothing about it. But here's where my biggest gripe with Season 2 lies. We lose the adventure and discovery and replace it with exposition and flashbacks. By episode 3 of Season 2, we're literally force-fed the answers to 99% of the questions we had about the island in Season 1 in a way that felt not only rushed, but kinda disappointing. I think this is where a lot of the magic of the show started to fade a bit for me, as it became more reminiscent of just another battle shonen with cool fights, rather than something that also offered a strong element of adventure and exploration. While I understand that maybe the author didn't place as strong of an emphasis on adventure, possibly to give more attention to the main plot as well as action scenes, I just feel like this is where Hell's Paradise really had the potential to stand out the most among its contemporaries. I think that Season 2 could have been a bit better if we learned more about the island through encounters with its inhabitants that have more substance to them than just a 10-minute long monologue explaining everything that we need to know. Speaking of out-of-place monologues, let's talk about Tao. Another thing I wasn't a huge fan of was Tao. specifically the whole Pokemon element tree aspect they dropped in out of nowhere. I thought the original idea of Tao worked pretty well and actually made sense. The idea of innate life energy is a pretty common trope in shonen. Ki, chakra, reiatsu, you know the drill. Hell's Paradise subtly introduces this in Season 1, as we see people like Gabimaru and Shion take down Tensen using their pre-existing aptitudes for it. Shion being able to fight despite his blindness by subconsciously developing the ability to sense Tao is a perfect way to integrate this system from the start of the show. Where my problem lies is when they try to assign different element affinities to the main cast in order to force specific matchups with the Tensen. In episode 5, we're told that everyone has a specific element that their Tao is most compatible with, and the main cast is grouped together based on these affinities. Now, I'm all for trying to establish a set of rules and guidelines to a power system, but this scene literally felt like someone told the author that they needed rules, and they just went, okay, here are some rules. Like, where do these affinities come from? How do they manifest themselves? Does having a water attribute mean anything other than it's just easier to beat people with fire attributes? Additionally, we're told that if someone has an attribute that hinders another, the hindered person is basically fucked. Not for some logical reason like water abilities physically put out fire abilities, but more like having a water affinity makes you do more damage to people with fire affinities just because. Tao just feels like a haphazardly created rulebook that is only established to force the main cast into specific situations without having to do anything crazy like, I don't know, use good writing. Okay, that was harsh, but the core issue with Tao isn't that it has rules. It's that those rules feel abruptly introduced and overly convenient for structuring fights. At the end of the day, Hell's Paradise Season 2 isn't bad. The fights are still entertaining, the characters are still solid, and yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I don't get hyped as fuck when Gabimaru lights himself on fire and beats the crap out of someone else. Like, don't get me wrong, Mappa's always cooking with these action scenes, and I think we got some really awesome fights this season. Tenza and Shion versus Zujin was pretty sick, Gabimaru kept going crazy in his fights, and anything with Gantetsusai in it was as fun to watch as it was absurd. But like I said before, Hell's Paradise had the potential to offer more outside of cool fight scenes, and I think that Season 2 traded away something that really made the first season stand out. That sense of mystery, of not knowing what the hell was going on or what might kill you next, that's mostly gone now. And in its place, we got more explanations, more structure, and a more typical battle shonen formula. Which is fine, but it's also a lot less interesting. Hell's Paradise didn't fall off. It just stopped being as unique as it could have been. But who knows? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews.